This is the Lifestream Podcast, episode number 4 for July 29th, 2015. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lifestream Podcast. I am Mike Ficklin, also known as Vader SW1 on the forums, and joining me on this mythic quest into all things Final Fantasy are Carly.
Hello.
And joining us again, Ryushikaze. Am I pronouncing that right again?
Still close enough.
Damn it.
Ryushikaze.
And
It's gonna be a running gag.
Yeah.
And Tetsujin.
Iron Man.
Also close enough. Hello.
And basically, what this show will be about is for an hour or so every few weeks, we will discuss all things Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy related. We'll hit upon recent news and notes and delve into a different topic of discussion each episode. If you have a recommendation for something we should discuss, feel free to hit us up at lifestreampod@gmail.com or comment on the episode posts on the forums each week. Got a few news and notes from the last fortnight here. I thought some of this stuff might be make for some interesting discussion here. One of the top thing that I saw here was there's actually an indie game developer called Razing Bird Games that is working on an unofficial Blitzball multiplayer game. I don't think it's been made clear yet whether or not it's going to be like a mobile phone thing or based somehow through maybe like Steam or something like that. But it sounds very interesting, especially for those that enjoyed playing Blitzball and Final Fantasy X.
All 5 of you.
You can actually visit Razing Bird's website at Razing Bird, that's RAZING bird.com, or you can follow them on Facebook by searching for Razing Bird Games, all ran together there. Another interesting note here is that it has been Final Fantasy Symphony II has been announced, and it will be focusing on music from Final Fantasies 5, 8, 9, and 13. Kind of a interesting pull there. It will feature a Final Fantasy 13 medley called Utopia in the Sky, and that'll feature songs like the Final Fantasy 13 Prelude, Vanille's theme, Nautilus, and my personal favorite song from that soundtrack, Blinded by Light. It will also feature Final Fantasy 9 medley called For the People of Gaia, and it will feature Vivi's theme, Festival of the Hunt, Morning in the Sky, and Assault of the Silver Dragon. And they also kind of...
That's very exciting.
Yes, it is. I'm really looking forward to that. They also mentioned that there could be some unannounced themes that appear throughout that medley as well, so that's very exciting. I'm really stoked about that. Final Fantasy IX getting some love.
3-hour remix of Queen's theme.
My God, I hope not.
And they will release frogs into the audience at the same time.
That would be awesome. That would make that might make that whole experience worthwhile, actually.
They're not allowed to stop until every single frog is accounted for.
It will also feature a Final Fantasy VIII medley called Mono no Aware, and it will feature The Oath, Don't Be Afraid, Waltz for the Moon, and The Landing.
This could also be called There Are Other Tracks on the Album.
It seems like they pick the same tracks for all of these symphonic releases for Final Fantasy. It's, I want to hear some more expanded, maybe a deep cut off the soundtrack, something we didn't expect.
Well, specifically, this is a lot of stuff they don't normally do, especially they're not doing Maybe I'm a Lion.
Right.
Which seems to be the key feature, and I'm actually kind of glad that they didn't do it, which is why I made the joke, there are other songs.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be the only song that gets played.
Last part of the that they announced was that there's going to be a Final Fantasy V medley titled Library of the Ancients, very apropos, and it will feature Final Fantasy V's main theme. Is it Reina's theme? Reina's theme?
Reina, also called Lena. Most people still just call her Lena.
Spreading Grand Wings and the Evil Lord X Death. Now, I'm not as familiar with Final Fantasy V soundtrack as I am all others, but it's actually exciting to hear them give Final Fantasy V some love, at least.
Yep. And again, it's there are other songs on this album playlist because they are specifically avoiding the big hitter on the soundtrack, Battle on the Big Bridge, which is Gilgamesh's theme.
Yeah, and is that featured pretty prominently in Record Keeper, if I recall correctly?
It's prominently featured in everything, but yes, also in Record Keeper.
Yeah,
if Gilgamesh is in it, Battle on the Big Bridge has a new spiffy remake.
Yeah, they did perform Battle on the Big Bridge on the previous concerts quite often, like Symphonic Fantasies and Symphonic Odyssey, so they
the
might
Black
actually
Mages have also
skip
done a remix, so yeah.
Yeah, that too.
It's been covered.
So they might actually skip it on this one and focus on stuff that hasn't been performed yet, because that's kind of their thing for these types of concerts.
Right on. It sounds like fun. I wish I would be able to make it to one of them. It looks like Final Symphony II premieres in Bonn, Germany on August the 29th. And I don't think it's coming anywhere near the States, at least not that I saw.
Doesn't seem that way. At the very least, I'm going to be there in Bonn for the premiere.
That's awesome. I expect a full report, Tets.
Yeah, sure.
I expect full, pirated video of the entire thing. Yeah.
By the way, the Lifestream.net does not endorse piracy.
We just understand.
Please understand.
And some of us use it a lot.
Please understand. We do not get these things in the far off places known as Puerto Rico.
Yes, far off places.
Yeah. No, I've actually been to an anime convention where the creator of Macross said, "Now, I can't tell you that it's okay to pirate these things, but I know that the rights are tied up, and let's just say I understand."
Wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge, yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you guys saw this news story kind of floating around, and I don't even know why it made such a big deal, but I really wanted to throw this out here because I think everyone needs to take this with a grain of salt. I've seen it rumored that the Final Fantasy VII HD remake is going to be set for Q4 2016. People are saying this because Amazon and EB Games have a December 31st, 2016 listing. This by now I would like to think that people realize that these are just placeholder dates and not something to take as canon.
Yeah.
I was shocked because I didn't know that EB Games was still at that.
Well,
point stored for the Melon Lord.
It's obviously a placeholder day that do this with every single game. And no one's gonna release a game on the last day of the year.
Well, especially
they're not gonna release it right after.
Yes,
Christmas.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. There's no way that they would miss the Christmas rush if that was going to be the case. Like I said, take that with a grain of salt.
To me, obviously the target date is going to be the 20th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII on 2017.
That seems to be the popular opinion. The way that
if they manage to make that one.
Yeah, what I was going to say, I'm so cynical about it by now that I think that it wouldn't shock me at all if it takes them another 10 years to release this thing.
I don't think it's going to be that bad, but yeah, I'm still skeptical that they're going to be able to get it out by next year.
I'd expected 2018 probably. That would be my guess.
So you think they're gonna miss the 20th anniversary, Tets?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I would be okay with that if they actually get Final Fantasy 15 out before that.
You know that was coming out.
No, we're getting World of Final Fantasy first.
God damn it.
On the plus side, we are actually getting Bravely Second.
Yes, and I am so stoked for that. That to me, that is what Final Fantasy should be and should have remained.
Final Fantasy V with Headfucker. Got it.
Okay.
You think I'm being facetious, but that's including an amnesiac party member.
I'm sorry, including a what?
An amnesiac party member.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen that often.
It's happened in Final Fantasy V and in Bravely Default, so that's why it's Final Fantasy V with Head Trip.
I also saw that Final Fantasy Typo HD will be hitting Steam on August the 18th. And apparently, in a very strange twist, they're actually teaming up with DOTA 2 and for
Defense of the Agents.
I'm sorry?
Dota.
Yeah.
Also known as
The
Defense of the Agents.
And for those that pre-order the game, they will get a Master Chocobo Courier and a Class 0 Moogle for award in DOTA 2. Also, those who pre-order will receive an exclusive loading screen, which I'm not sure if that's a benefit.
Loading screen is a reward?
Right? For the Dota crowd, the completely useless kitsch is what they buy. That is what the most money is for. So getting a free bonus loading screen, that's their gravy.
Wow. Okay.
I guess they know their target audience then.
Yeah, pretty much. The Steam version of Final Fantasy Type 0 will include Steam achievements, trading cards, scalable motion blur settings, and a customizable screenshot mode. And apparently, like Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat, increased blood levels and character speed boosts will also be made available.
I want max blood at max speed. Cuisinart settings.
Right? And this last little note that I had here, I thought this was interesting and worth discussing. I saw in an interview, according to Square Enix Americas and Europe CEO Phil Rogers, Final Fantasy XV director Hajime Tabata really wants to embrace Western gamers.
Well,
I see this as both a good and a bad thing.
If he wants a hug, we can give it to him. I mean...
Just, don't leave him in a room too long with Carly. She hugs a bit too hard. That's why we can't have rabbits anymore.
Nice and slender.
Tell me about the rabbit, Carly.
Wow.
I love rabbits. I don't even eat them because I find them so cute. I could never eat a rabbit.
That's not what I'm implying you do with them. I'm implying that you hug them too hard.
I'm just bringing that up.
The reason why I thought, I kind of see this as being a little bit of a double-edged sword, because for me, Final Fantasy is and should remain a JRPG, and it feels like with Final Fantasy 15, they're really pushing to turn this into more of the series into more of a westernized gaming series, and if I wanted that, I would go and play a Western RPG. I would go and play a game like Elder Scrolls, which I enjoy the Elder Scrolls series, but not nearly as much as I enjoy the Final Fantasy series.
Well, to me, if that is their intention, they're failing. Because a lot of the complaints about Final Fantasy 15 had come from the Western audience.
And see, I guess I don't understand their complaints, because Final Fantasy 15 seems to have completely changed the direction that Final Fantasy was going, or the series was going in. So, I mean, it feels more like a Western RPG than any of the other Final Fantasies by far.
I would say that in terms of gameplay, yeah, but in terms of the story, I don't see it as a Western game. Like, a lot of the criticism, especially towards what they're doing with the lack of female characters, like what they do with the actual female characters that they do have, a lot of the criticisms have come from the Western audience.
The hilarious thing is that by attempting to appeal to the Japanese female market by having an all-dude cast, because seriously, that sells, they've offended the Western female market, or at least a vocal percentage of it.
I mean, is that the beef right now? I guess I've been missing that.
There's a lot of it. I wouldn't suggest it, but if you go on Tumblr, which again I would not suggest it because that is not
go on Tumblr.
Yeah, there's a lot of criticism towards it, and justified, because I said this before. Sydney, that's just the outfit. That's just horrendous. The mess with Stella, that was no longer Stella, that got a lot of people angry, including myself. I'm very angry about it. The
what you need to do,
characters.
Is you need to get a boombox and stand outside Square Enix headquarters in Japan while it's raining and just start screaming Stella.
The first problem with that is that it's 2015. Where I'm gonna find a boombox.
In the 80s, where you're going to have to go.
Yeah, this is like an amazing plan.
I can loan you one, Carly.
You still have one?
And
Yes, I do.
If nothing else, we can find a DeLorean, and we all know that those can travel through time.
I
Better
would
find
love
Doc
a
Brown,
DeLorean.
too.
Doc Brown is easy to find.
Great Scott. But yeah, we said this when we had the podcast talking about Final Fantasy 15 and the changes from Versus. That may appeal to the Japanese audience having the J-pop generic boys group. That does not appeal to me at all, and a lot of people think the same. It's just I like a diverse cast. It just doesn't feel story-wise like it's actually appealing to Western audiences. Gameplay, yes, like it has the action, and I know you guys don't really. Some of you don't really like that, but I actually do like the action. Although it kind of looks like Kingdom Hearts, and it does not look as, unique as it should be.
Yeah, I agree with that. Totally agree with that. At least from the what we played of the episode to Sky demo, I would totally agree that the gameplay plays a lot like Kingdom Hearts. Has anybody else played that but me?
I've played a little bit of it on somebody else's machine. Yeah, I cannot completely understand why they went to, it plays like Kingdom Hearts, because Kingdom Hearts has been one of their best-selling and most universally well-received series in quite a long time.
Yeah, but to be fair,
a
lot of that
Tomb Raider.
acclaim is due to it being involved heavily with Disney.
Oh no, I meant mechanically.
Okay, I got you.
A lot of people have specifically praised the way that the game handles. And it, when I say other than Tomb Raider, it basically is everybody loves how the new Tomb Raider handles. But other than that, the most glowing things that I hear are for Kingdom Hearts. People are just generally not happy with the gameplay mechanics of the Deus Ex game.
That's interesting.
It's little things with the Deus Ex thing. It's like, overall it's good, but then there's these questionable design decisions that cheese the hell out of long-term players.
Last piece of news that I wanted to get to here. Carly, you actually wanted to speak a bit about the community playthrough for Final Fantasy VII. Carly, what you got?
Well, I got out of Midgar.
Yeah, 1/8 of the way through.
Just for the record, the last time I recorded, I haven't been to record all week because there's been problems with my PC. Joe, and I'm gonna say this in front of everyone, so everyone will leave me alone. He has never gone out of the Shinra building. So now I'm no longer the person who's gone the least furthest in that game. So now you can all annoy Joe about it. We did like the last time we recorded, which I thought it was gonna be funny because neither one of us has ever come close to finishing the game. To be the two of us doing the commentary for my playthrough in that section. I got out of Midgar. First thing I do, I hadn't played in a few days, and I could not remember what the fuck I was supposed to do once I got out of Midgar. So I'm like, I'm just gonna walk. I vaguely remember this one I was wrong, that I was supposed to go to Corel, which I'm not even entirely sure at this point is an actual place in Final Fantasy VII. So just like,
Spoilers,
walk to the side where it says the beach. I was going in the opposite direction. And so I couldn't find anything, so I kept on walking, and I found a village, which was calm, which was where I was supposed to go. I did everything there went fine. I did calm. I did the Nibelheim flashback. Everything went fine. I got out of calm. I should have been paying more attention to the dialogue, because once I got out of calm, I was like, what am I supposed to do now? I accidentally found the Chicago farm. And I was like, I'm not sure I'm supposed to be here. I don't have Lex to tell me what I'm supposed to do, so I'm just gonna buy the Shikobu lure. You're supposed to put that as a material, but I didn't know what to do with it after that. Like, I can't get a Shikobu. I don't know what the fuck to do. So I just kept on walking, won a few fights, Then I ran into the sand area, and I see for a second a snake in the ground. And in 2 seconds, like, what's that? Then I'm in a fight, and then I'm dead. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
The
So I
Midgar
told
Stormer
Joe-
happened.
So I told you, I was like, let's just leave it here because I clearly don't know what I'm doing and I don't want to die again. Lex is like, there's no way you two are that stupid that you don't know what that is. It's like, yes, we are. We genuinely do not know what that was. We
It is
said
as
this
the,
before. It's a snake. You guys probably know it. I don't know what it is. It's a snake in the ground.
It's the Midgar Stormer, aka the Zolom.
Yeah, I had no
And
idea what that was.
Technically, it's a swamp creature, so you're seeing it swim around in a swamp.
Like,
I can tell you the entirety of the mythological meanings of the Midgar Stormer if you like. Won't help for Final Fantasy VII, but I can do it.
Maybe another time. Like, I can tell you the plot of Final Fantasy VII, but since I never put this far in the game, when it comes to gameplay and details, I don't know them because I never played them. Because I didn't know there was a snake on the fucking ground.
They tend to be there more often than the sky.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Just on average.
Reminds me of Mass Effect. And when I played the first Mass Effect and the stupid worms that came out of the ground, the treasure moss, which I fucking despise, I was like, this is Mass Effect. I did not play Final Fantasy. One hit kill.
Word of advice: you need to get the chocobo lure if you didn't already.
He did.
And you need to catch a chocobo and
and
ride
that. Run over the tracks. You'll get a chocobo. You can run over the damn thing and not.
Yeah, Lex, when he came back from vacation, he told me in a rather mocking manner.
So, how far are you actually in the game now, Carly?
Well, that's the last thing I did because I haven't been able to play again because there's problems with my PC.
Gotcha. So you haven't actually entered the next section of the game yet?
No. So the last thing I did was the Nibelheim flashback, and I got out of Qualm. So I'm a little further in the game. You can't say I'm not the person who's gone the least furthest in the game anymore. Go and know it, Joe now.
Yeah, I know this is a very unpopular opinion, but I very much enjoy going through, starting at about the first time you enter Wall Market. From that point until you're through with the Shinra building and stuff, that's some of my favorite moments of the game.
Not a bad.
I was very frustrated with all that.
You were frustrated with it?
Yeah. I said this last time. The whole tube thing going up, then going back down to get a battery, then going back up, then the stupid tube that you have to jump into that you have to time. Well, then going to the Shinra building, the gang separates. It gives you the option to leave the material in one group, and basically, it was a mess.
Does anybody else picture Carly just letting loose a string of expletives over trying to jump on that swinging pipe?
I don't have to imagine. I know.
I'm Hispanic, so obviously the answer is yes. I'm Hispanic.
In other playthrough news, I did finally update the MIME run for 5. I need to update the our forums with that, but I've managed to make it up through the second Gilgamesh fight. Everybody,
right on.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're moving right along.
I'm about maybe halfway through, not including all the end and post game stuff. But yeah, I'm about halfway through the plot.
In that one, you're using all mimes, correct?
I'm only using one mime.
One mime, okay.
And my gimmick is that I have to be the last boss I fought.
Right.
As best as I am able. Which was useful, because I got to be Gilgamesh. Did you fight him twice in a row?
Tets, are you doing any of these playthroughs?
No, not really.
Alright, you're going to start up a Final Fantasy V gimmick run. I've decided it.
Oh god.
You're going to be doing,
You can tell his excitement with his lack of talking.
Oh, he's totally excited.
Make him do like
this.
a Beastmaster run.
Somebody's already doing a Beastmaster run, as it turns out. But what we could do is make him do a Cannoneer run.
A what now?
They were only added for the GBA version. Basically take the Chemist and the Ranger and put them on frappe, and then give them a focus on big guns. I believe I've broken
I never even finished Final Fantasy V normally, so I don't think I would, try and finish it the first time in some kind of weird special run kind of thing.
Well, then you need to finish it for the first time in a standard way, and then you need to go back and listen to the Final Fantasy V Legend of the Crystals commentary track that Tenyo, Force Stealer, and I recorded many a year ago.
Maybe I will do that.
We're going to track your progress, Tets, and we'll expect a report.
Yeah, so I'm going to set you to have at least 2 of the crystals by next week.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
That's saying something, considering that you get those 2 crystals within about 2 hours of play.
Oh, okay.
I give a little bit of update for me. I did decide I was going to jump in on the Final Fantasy VII community playthrough. I am not too terribly far into it just because I don't really have a lot of time for it, but I am just now. I just got outside of Midgar myself and getting ready to head to Calm. Like I said, I love that piece of the game going through Wall Market all the way up through the end of the Shinra Tower. That's a lot of fun.
It is.
Okay, with the news and notes out of the way, I thought we'd go ahead and move on into our main topic of discussion today, which is basically just a little bit of a fun, speculative discussion on what we could possibly see at the forthcoming Gamescom and D23 conventions. What we can tell you has been officially announced is for Gamescom, Square has confirmed that Final Fantasy Type 0 HD, Final Fantasy XV Episode Disguise 2.0, and Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward will all be at Gamescom with playable demos. There will also be a stage demo for Final Fantasy XV, and there will also be an active time report with Final Fantasy XV director Hajime Tabata.
Can we activate active time events too? I want to see what's going on at somewhere else in the con at the same time.
Square Enix's, as far as D23 is concerned, Square Enix is promising special surprises and gameplay footage for Kingdom Hearts 3, and that D23 Expo runs from August 14th to August 16th. And there appears to be a rumor floating around that Square is actually going to give us a release date for Kingdom Hearts 3 at this event here. So
I doubt that.
The official release date for Kingdom Hearts 3 is your child's 2nd birthday. Yes, you listener, get on it.
So what do you guys...
another hell freezes over. Yeah, I don't believe
no,
it at all.
that happened back in the 90s.
Boy, we're positive on the show today.
You guys should know that I don't really hold the Square Enix to the highest opinion, and I usually just lower my standards. So usually they meet that low standard, and sometimes they unexpectedly surprise me and go beyond those standards. But usually the way I operate with them is don't get your
extremely low standards lead to pleasant surprises for Carly.
Exactly. it worked with the Legend of Korra, and it has worked with Final Fantasy in the past. But yeah, no high standards for them. Everything low.
So what do we expect, or we're actually going to see at Gamescom and D23 for that matter? Then
they'll probably talk about.
Go ahead.
I don't think we're gonna see anything. Maybe you'll see something a little bit new of a Kingdom Hearts, but I think they're just gonna talk about it.
We might see some gameplay for KH3.
Maybe we'll see the same thing with Sada 3.
You think maybe they put together a new trailer for it, perhaps?
Not getting my hopes up for that. I'm assuming because it wasn't i3 that we will see a new trailer for Final Fantasy 15. Not that I'm really particularly interested in that.
Tetsu, what were you about to say?
I was about to say that I would expect that maybe possibly we're going to get at least a release window for FF15. They're going to announce, like, I don't know, summer 2016, fall 2016, something along those lines. Because I feel like it's about time.
And then they will get delayed and come after the release.
Do you?
I'm fairly optimistic, actually, this time around.
Do you think they're actually that far along in development?
Well, I mean, at least I hope so. And I mean, at least we know that there's definitely going to be like new stuff that they have to show off. And I think they confirmed a new trailer before E3 even. I'm not really sure about that, but there's definitely going to be new stuff at the Active Time report. So I hope a release date is part of that, at least the release window.
I would certainly like to see them do or give us a release window for Final Fantasy 15, but it's hard not to be pessimistic, especially with Square's recent history with getting Final Fantasy games out. And I think I read an interview just here recently where I can't remember who it was, made mention that they weren't concerned with getting new Final Fantasy games out on a regular basis. They were more concerned about the quality of the games, and I'm okay with that as far as being concerned about the quality of the game. But I think you're pissing your fan base off, and I think you're causing some of them to turn their backs because you're taking forever to develop a game. Especially given the fact that a lot of very successful video game series seem to turn around new games in the series once every year, if not once every couple of years.
Well, they're successful, but they're not good. There's a difference. Like, the most prominent example of once a year being successful is Assassin's Creed. And I think everyone would agree that, yeah.
Like, they can do
that series has been run into the ground.
Yeah,
yes.
You can have a good Assassin's Creed this year that basically tells you that the next one is gonna suck.
The pattern holds true.
Yeah, because you have Assassin's Creed 2 was great. Brotherhood, not as much, was still great. Relations sucked. Assassin's Creed 2 was boring as hell. 4, what I hear, was really good. Then you had the mess with Unity. So yeah, they're not. Doing once a year is not a good idea.
Well, and I guess I'm not saying that I feel like Square needs to put out a new numbered series Final Fantasy game out once every year, but I think it would behoove them to try to move through their production process a little bit faster than they do. I think a good example would probably be like the Batman Arkham series. I think they probably put 2 or 3 years between the releases of those games, and they do very, very well. And they're usually pretty outstanding games, with the exception of bits and pieces of Arkham Knight.
Except if you were playing it on PC, which was unplayable.
Well, okay. If you're gonna split hairs, okay.
It's not splitting hairs when one entire market literally cannot play your game.
Yeah.
And I think the problem with Square Enix is that they announce games usually before they actually have anything to show off. Like, way too early in development, they announce the games, and then you have to wait like 10 fucking years before you finally get the result.
That's known as the PS3 kind of like the main problem. A lot of people did that.
Yeah, but then again, they also did that for like Crisis Core on PSP, and they the first trailer was literally just scenes from the anime because they didn't have anything else to show. But they were like, but here it is anyway. This is the game that we're about to make, I guess.
Yeah, no, they're worse about it than a lot of people. I'm just saying a lot of other people do it too.
It's like me telling you guys right now, I'm going to be invited to my wedding. That's just one problem. I'm single.
Well, if you just let that stalker into your life, that could change.
Wow. I don't know. I guess I don't understand what the ins and outs of how Square Enix works, and I guess I don't understand the whys behind why it takes them 10 years to develop a franchise, if not or a game in the franchise. To me, I think they're thinking too hard about things instead of just letting them move forward and letting the fans decide whether or not they like it.
I do think you could say that they're overthinking things, but I think the reason they're overthinking things is because they've had a few massive stinkers, and they do not want to repeat that.
Yeah, but
so
I think
it's once bitten, twice shy.
I think the problem though is that they're overthinking it in the wrong way, because I think a large part of the reason, at least for me, a large part of the reason why the last few entries into the Final Fantasy series have been such stinkers are because they've broken away from what made the Final Fantasy series so great, and I don't think people took too well to that. I think if they went back to the roots of the series and did a game that was reminiscent, I'm not saying exactly identical, but reminiscent to some of the classic games of the series, I think they would win a large majority of the fans back, and I think it would be successful on the level of maybe a Final Fantasy VII or a Final Fantasy VIII, or Final Fantasy IX for that matter.
It depends. I mean, I don't know if literally the market wants those games again as much as they say they do. I think they want something that makes them feel like those games did, but that what makes them feel like that might have changed.
I mean, it's definitely changed if you're taking a look at Tabata's remark about wanting to make the Final Fantasy series more westernized.
But yeah, I just don't know, because the thing is, what they're trying to do is figure out what will get them another 7 and another 8. And they're actually, at the moment, willing to risk and see if giving another 7 will get them another metaphorical 7. So,
but there's no doubt in my mind that 7 HD remake is going to sell like hotcakes.
It will. It's just something they can't keep doing over and over repeatedly. So they're basically doing this while they try and figure out, well, maybe we can release 7 likes, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't have I don't have the solution other than to say that I think that if you spend too much time mulling about ideas or mulling over ideas and not taking any action on them, I think you're just further alienating your fan base.
Well, it's not so much the not taking the action as announcing that you're doing a thing and then not taking the action.
Okay, yeah.
If they mulled it over and then announced it when they were near done, not immediately, because that could bite you in the ass as well. Hello, Dreamcast. But they need to have considerably less lead up to their releases. They need to basically. I think one of the things that's really killing them is actually their own hype and expectations, because people wait for it so long and they expect it has to be amazing, and if it isn't, then what's the point? And it's not as amazing as it needs to be for the wait.
I wouldn't disagree with that. That's a very good point. I think that they probably ought to only make their announcements when they have something to show for it, and perhaps maybe are maybe 50% into the development process for a game. I don't think that would be too much to ask, and I actually think it would probably help maybe, I guess, mitigate the expectations from the fan base.
I mean, that seems reasonable. Whether or not they start doing that, and whether or not a lot of people start adopting that, because Square Enix isn't the only one with the problem, but they've got sort of the worst case of it, I think. And a lot of companies are sort of trying to figure out where the hell the sweet spot is for announcements.
Well, I mean, I guess, do you any of you guys read much in the way of gaming magazines or go to like a GameSpot or IGN on a regular basis to check on what's coming out and stuff?
Honestly,
I'm
not
kind
really.
of actively boycotting a lot of those sites because I fundamentally disagree with their business practices.
All right, you can't say that and then not explain.
Gawker is a piece of shit. QED. I hate clickbait.
Yeah. Okay.
QED.
Okay, I got you. I don't know. I read a lot of gaming magazines just to actually try to catch snippets of news on when the next Final Fantasy game is going to come out, and it seems like I guess I don't understand why Square can't mitigate its announcements the way that, say, a developer like I don't know. I lost the name of the developer for the Resident Evil series.
Capcom?
Yes, Capcom. When Capcom announces a game, it seems like they are well on their way into production, and they are releasing.
On the other hand, they're Capcom is so off the pulse of what their fans want
Agreed.
that it's
I won't disagree with
kind
that.
of ridiculous.
I won't disagree with that. I'm just saying, there has to be a happy medium there.
Yeah. And if Capcom knew what the hell its fans wanted, they would have that happy medium. But as it is, no one is surprised when, P4R Gaming puts out a, Capcom employees almost recognize some of the Mega Man screenshots from Smash article. Because they've basically dropped one of their most beloved franchises. Actually, they've dropped practically all of their franchises except for Resident Evil and Street Fighter at the moment.
I didn't realize that they had dropped Mega Man.
Oh, they've dropped Mega Man like a ton of bricks. That's the entire reason why Mighty Number 9 even happened. They
That's a
basically salted the earth over a feud with the lead.
Changing a quick change of subject over to D23 and the Kingdom Hearts, possible Kingdom Hearts 3 announcement. I've been hearing a lot of speculation that they are going to include Star Wars in the next Kingdom Hearts game, and I'm really not sure how I feel about that.
How did you like the
personally
Tron
hope
levels?
not.
I'm sorry, I heard both of you speaking at the same time.
Go ahead.
I was just saying I hope they do not include Star Wars because I feel that it feels out of place.
It definitely
in
does.
Kingdom Hearts.
I don't think it would necessarily feel more out of place as a setting than Tron, but I think that much like the Pirates of the Caribbean level, it will feel a bit tonally, like as a story, it'll just look and feel a bit weird. Especially because it's not an old-time Disney license.
Yes, and I think that's my biggest problem with it. I was terrified that something like this would happen when Disney bought Lucasfilm, that they would eventually drag the mouse into Star Wars in some fashion and start creating crap IPs out of it. And I'm not saying that Kingdom Hearts is a crap IP because it's far from that, but I don't think it belongs in a Disney-based game because, to me, Star Wars is not a Disney film franchise, even though they own it. It's just not.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of stuff that Disney owns that are not Disney franchises for one reason or another. A lot of them are because Disney doesn't feel like it fits the brand. Like, actually, I think the original Escape from Witch Mountain was released under a different imprint. And then there was an actual straight-up horror movie they released that was not under Disney. Actually, it'd be very interesting to see some of those.
Well, then there's also...
They've got a better claim.
There's also the number of skin flicks that they released under their other business names.
Yeah.
Boy, that silenced the crowd again.
Yeah, no. Mostly because I was trying to come up with the best, worst, fake name for one of those, and then my mind kept going, but Snow White and the Seven Dwarves is already the best fake porno name.
Oh, boy. Anybody else got any thoughts on what we might expect to see at any one of these?
Related to anything or
anything? Yeah,
Square Enix.
Anything.
We might see some new Zelda. I think we're about due for another big Mario title. We're going to see a lot of information on Street Fighter V. I'm trying to think what... Nier 2.
I've heard...
If that's actually another big thing from Square Enix. If we do not get anything from Nier 2, I will actually be kind of surprised. Even though it's early days yet, they already have stuff to show for it. And Taro Yoko is a great stage presence, even when you don't actually see him, because he's always in that Emir mask.
I've not played the first one, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's good. It's not quite as insane as its sister series Drakengard, but it's definitely a memorable and mostly pleasant experience, apart from the interminable bits in the desert.
I haven't played the first one, but I think the second one is supposed to be developed by Platinum Games.
Yes.
I heard. That is actually interesting to me because Platinum Games make awesome action games.
Yeah, no. If Taro Yoko's particular brand of insanity got attacked, like I want to see what their two particular brands of here are all these horrible people that you hate, but you can't help but sort of identify with, and then Platinum's just get good, just get crazy good, gameplay insanity. I want to see how those go together. And just get Suda 51 in there too. Be the perfect storm.
Carly, you got anything else? Did we lose you, Carly?
Nope.
Okay, so she has not been kidnapped by Candlejack. That's good.
No, she's just tied up playing Final Fantasy VII right now.
Yeah.
No.
You're right. She's playing some sort of Korosami game on the internet.
There's no such game.
Yet.
Why not?
Because Carly hasn't finished programming
Yeah,
yet.
but if I knew anything about programming.
Tets, Ryu, you guys got anything else on this?
Not really.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that I think is likely to... Oh, Bravely Second.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of odd that Square... Thanks for bringing that up. I thought it was odd that Square didn't announce anything about Bravely Second being at Gamescom. I mean, I know it's been out in Japan for some time now, but I just thought it kind of odd that they wouldn't throw that out there as far as where they're at getting it localized.
Yeah. Because we're due it in, only a couple of months, isn't it? For the English release?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be Q4.
Yeah. They haven't, I don't think they've announced a official date, but it is supposed to be Q4 of this year, so probably right before Christmas. Maybe November, but definitely before Christmas.
Yeah, hopefully they'll surprise us then and give us an update on that, or maybe show us. I mean, we've probably seen plenty of screenshots, but I wouldn't mind seeing a trailer for it.
We got to see more of the Clash that can use a sword as a hat.
I think with that said, then this is a good place to bookmark it and call it an episode. Nice short episode for those that like the shorter episodes. I do.
And for those that don't, please wait for the 30 minutes of dead air, which may or may not have something at the very end, or intermittently spliced in between.
And I promise, Ryu, for this when I edit this episode, you won't seem like a Jedi mind reader. Yeah, I don't.
My
I don't
secret
know if...
must be preserved. I understand.
That's disappointing for him because now you ruined it.
Didn't have any listener feedback as far as responding to our question from last week. So that's kind of disappointing. I've been really looking forward to reading email and listener feedback as far as the questions we've been posing and to see how people feel about the actual show content. Instead, a lot of the feedback has been more on the technical side of things, and I really appreciate that because it's helping me become better at editing the show and get my actual audio recording fixed. But I really do want to hear from you guys. I want to hear your opinions on what we're talking about, get the answers to some of these questions we're posing, because I think it's important for Square to be aware of what we're talking about. And of course, I doubt that they're listening to this show, but if in the off chance that they are, it would be nice to be able to read some of that feedback.
Yeah, and as a chance to maybe provoke a reaction in some of the people who might not otherwise respond. Your mom! At least get our Glaswegian and Geordie folks in.
So this week's question for the listenership, what do you want to see announced at Gamescom and or the D23 Expo? And like I said, we do want to hear from you. So send your questions and feedback to us at lifestreampod@gmail.com. You can also reply to the episode posts each week on the lifestream.net forums. Please leave us feedback on iTunes. We will do our best to read your questions, comments, and feedback on air. And we'd like to thank you again for listening to the Lifestream podcast. Take care and always protect the crystals. Music featured on this episode is courtesy of Incompetech.com.